A radio signal from another world. Sir?
This man is not a hero, he's a criminal. Shut up!
Hello, sirs and madams. It's your buddy Admiral Teague. Welcome to the Paramount Show. Paramount this week, Yellowstone Marshals Episode 1 will be our focus. We'll also talk about a little bit about what's going on with Warner Brothers, a little bit about what's going on with Paramount, and a little bit about what's to look forward this week and Admiral Teague's insane schedule. So welcome to RRTNZ, the Real Head Case, and Miskatonic Madman. It's good to see all of you. If you could join me in tweeting out that we're live, that absolutely does help. People don't seem to know that Admiral Teague is here, but you know what? We have some great entertainment for you, and we just watched Yellowstone Marshals. Germ is a much bigger Yellowstone expert than I am. I only have passing familiarity with the show. I've got a lot more Yellowstone to watch, about 30 episodes. So, Germ, I'm going to say it. You tell me what you think. This didn't feel like a continuation of Yellowstone at all.
No, I don't think it was meant to be. It's more along the lines of one of those crime procedurals that CBS likes putting up all over the place, but with a more country spin to it.
Well, that has kind of been the new thing, right? Like big city cop shows are out. Like, what isn't there a show called like One Horse Town Detective or some shit like that, right? There's already some stuff going on where we're not really too sure if a city location is like really the new thing for cop shows anyway. However, I would say this, the testimony to this show would be, I'm not a big fan of the show FBI. Have you ever seen it?
I've seen a couple episodes.
The better version of the show is what happens is the female lead left the show to have a baby. And since she's come back, she's been front and center on the show. So she is just like, they've been featuring how hot she is, and she's a pretty good actress. So it's improved the show by watching, instead of the brooding male agent that they spent like a year trying to mark time with, hoping they wouldn't lose their show. That guy's good too, but people just love the female agent and her story. There's a spinoff of FBI called CIA. As soon as Yellowstone Marshals ended, CIA came on. I watched an episode and a half just out of the curiosity. It was a little more entertaining than Marshals. We had to change up a bunch of stuff, including people who were kept safe at the end of Yellowstone couldn't be gotten back, or their reps fell apart, or whatever may have happened. The most noticeable person missing is Babbling Squaw. She is the wife of Casey. What happened to her? She got cancer from the pipeline across the reservation land.
Yeah, someone was dumping waste onto the reservation land. Her and a bunch of others on the reservation ended up getting cancer, and so that's what they used to write off some key characters.
It's sort of like they already had this thing going on, so they leaned into their own show lore to get it going. And let's see, RTNZ says, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one U.S. Marshal show, Justified. Raylan Givens is the GOAT. He outdraws and outguns down Casey without breaking a sweat. The show's vision of Casey is he is pretty badass, remorseless, and he is so cocksure that he will take a risk with anybody's life on a sniped shot. With an unsighted rifle, if I believe, I think he iron sighted that guy, but not really the point. Casey wastes a couple people in this episode. He's dealing with loss of his wife, but it seems like just that one moment where he goes up on the hill and sees her tombstone is about all that we're going to get. And he's going to move on. We have a pretty interesting milieu of actors. They're all fairly capable. We've seen a few of them before. Two of them were on the reboot of 90210. It was very interesting. Let's see what people are saying. We got a lot of chats coming in from our very dedicated fans. Let's see. Justified is great. Miss Katonic says hello. Hello, Eminem. No loss getting rid of the wife. She would have just injected unnecessary drama. She was hot. She had very little to do with the last 5 episodes of Yellowstone that we watched. We rewatched the last half season to get what was going on. And it was a fairly good launching pad for other shows, but they didn't really use a lot of what they gave them. And that actress was like, I guess they couldn't get her back schedule-wise. And also there was a problem with her. Like she got into a little bit of publicity trouble for the same thing that Chakotay did. Am I correct on that one, Jerm?
I'm not sure about the publicity stuff, but she is signed on to a different project.
Admiral Teague, incoming super chat.
A very generous $10 Greenlandian greenback super chat from Radioactive, who says he's homesick. So here's a tenor for New Dilithium. Thank you. Raylan doesn't whine about being the right parent to live. Casey needs to man up. Boyd Crowder would eat him for breakfast. You know what? Let's address that. Jerm, what do you think of this? Of the Casey does need to man up. And Boyd Crowder is his supervisor, right? That's the guy who shows up and is like, you know, you
Boyd
need to move
Crowder
my
from Marshals or from Justified.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I had a funny feeling he was either the head marshal or the Justified guy. Yeah, it seems like this show has a lot in common with Justified. Is Justified crapple? Is that why I haven't seen it?
Justified was on FX about, has to be close to 20 years ago now.
Okay. Okay. So we don't have to worry about that being a show that was directed by Rosario Dawson or anything. I'm sorry, Roxanne Dawson or anything we missed. There's no connection, but okay. Yeah. I missed out on Justified. People are saying that, you know, you're not going to do better with Marshals. They deputize him in a way that hasn't been allowed since the 19th century, but it is expedient for the show. I don't know how long he can last as a marshal. The Marshals might be looking for him by episode 5. Casey is, let's just say that it was like a Miami Vice level of paperwork, isn't it? And feel better, Radioactive. We're sorry we're not feeling so great. Yeah, I was not I did not watch Justified. Was it? You guys said it was Netflix, right?
It should be on Netflix now, but it's on FX originally.
Oh, okay. Here's the thing. I just didn't have it. And 2010 and 2015, probably the worst 5 years of my life. Not watching a lot of TV. Sorry, guys. I missed that one. I have some catching up to do. What can I tell you? But I'm glad you guys are here now. And like, as far as we'll give our Marshals mini review first. They didn't take every opportunity that Taylor Sheridan set them up with spinning out of Yellowstone. But then again, he wasn't about to show up as himself as the 66 guy. And they weren't able to get the show going in time. I will check out Justified. It's on FX now. I could probably get it. I thought that this show was solid network quality. It just didn't feel very Yellowstone. And their story was fairly basic, although it does spring from the events that end the Yellowstone show. Somebody tries to kill Thomas Rainwater, guys. It looks like he's going to be okay, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a season-long thing about why someone tried to take out Rainwater and them hunting down at least the mercenaries who did it.
Right. Rainwater looks so okay right now that it's hard to believe that he won't be all right. And the reason he's only in 4 of 10 episodes is because he's in the hospital. Let's beam up Radioactive.
I'm going to be allowed to fulfill my destiny.
That's what you always say. Welcome.
Close enough.
Yeah, it's a very Kremlin-looking Radioactive.
Yeah, sorry. I knew it was Kremlin and I said Radioactive. Brain fried, long weekend, a lot of Star Trek, starting out with New Trek, and boy, is my brain messed up. But let's talk about this Marshals episode. I'll hand it over to Germ to take the lead, and Kremlin and I will chime in when necessary. Go ahead, Germ.
Okay, we start off with Casey and his son on the ranch. Casey's old friend comes by with some nice C4 so they can blow up some tree stumps. Trying to get Casey to recover from his wife's passing. So he gets him to help him out on a job through rough country. They hunt down the guys. Then he gets them to just continue on. He helps with a protest on the reservation because his son's there to protest the illegal dumping because his mother just passed from cancer. There's a bombing. Rainwater is severely hurt. Someone tries to finish the job in the hospital and take out a co-conspirator. Casey, in a fairly good fight, ends up putting 3 in the guy's chest.
Yeah, guy came. Casey was like, he was ready to get jumped too. He's like, I gotta pee. He goes to this restroom. He checks to see if there's anyone in the stalls, but the guy was obviously standing on the throne waiting to attack. And he just comes busting out of the bathroom stall. And like you said, it was a pretty good fight. And I guess the best fight scenes show us that something about the character. What we learned was, if you send a merc to kill Casey, it's not going to work out.
Yeah, it's not a good idea to send someone like that to kill a Navy SEAL.
Was he a Navy SEAL or was he Delta Force? He was an elite soldier. I guess he was a Navy SEAL.
They list him as Navy SEAL.
Okay. So he did a lot of time in the sandbox, as he likes to say. He was in Afghanistan. They usually only mention Afghanistan, thought of as like the more brutal, grinding war, as opposed to like something more of an open war in Iraq. What do I know? I've never been to either country. I've only seen them on TV and what they've told us on TV. But we had what I would call a representative mystery show. We're working on like what the hell happened with Rainwater, and we're going to try to get this going in a way that moves forward in, I guess, a normal fashion. I'll say again, the show CIA came on after, and it's kind of a better show. This show, it's only episode 1. It's finding its legs. Taylor Sheridan is not involved. He's just not really involved. Like he leased them out his characters, and he's just collecting his paycheck, waiting for 4 6s. We have a mostly new cast. They just sort of helicopter in, and we find out that there are federal marshals in this area. And I don't know if these are the same marshals we would see in Yellowstone, if we even did, because he does love the overlapping law enforcement.
I believe the only character to recur from Yellowstone is Casey's friend, the head of the team.
Now,
And
Casey's friend
on like 1 or 2 episodes.
He shows up towards the end of Yellowstone as like the local marshal to set up this show. Was my impression. Thoughts?
I'm not sure if he is a marshal originally in Yellowstone. He is just a friend that Casey called when he needed some extra legal stuff done.
Now there's some kind of white guy politician who's either law enforcement or the new governor. He looks like the new governor who replaced John Dutton, but I don't know, and I don't know if it's the same actor. Like who is the guy with the cowboy hat who was like definitely alpha man in charge of Casey, in charge of Casey's boss?
He was the Marshals. He's either director or deputy director of the Marshals in that area.
So he's a Fed, and he's the local Fed supervisor.
Yeah.
All right, works for me. I guess there's not a whole hell of a lot to be said on this show. It really, they did not do a good job of a dismount from Yellowstone. They tried to set up these shows. And right now, I can't tell if they're doing anything that great with it. Jerm, what was your opinion of this one? And we'll all give it a grade.
Kind of a rough start, but they had a long way to go from where Yellowstone ended to where they want this to go. So going off of that, they did probably about as good a job as they could have. There was a lot of limitations that they had going from one to the other because they originally planned to have Elsie, what's her name, the wife, back in the show, but she had already tried to do something else, so they had to cut her out. And so I think that's what got it to transition to the whole Marshals format.
Because we could have had him struggling to keep the East lease with her.
Yeah. But apparently that's going to be the Dutton Ranch one with the sister and Rip. So this is going to be more of a Western police procedural, kind of like FBI or the new CIA show are.
The CIA show is related to FBI, and they spun FBI characters off into it, so it's going to be the same thing.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of Texas Rangers, the Texas Ranger TV show.
This show, it did remind me a little bit of that. Yeah, it had that going on, and we've got the most conflicted and unfit law enforcement guy, but maybe he finds himself. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the overarching themes for Casey to come back to center and get over his wife's death and become himself again.
Do things legally.
We thought he was going
not
to
that far.
Yeah, no, he'll obey the spirit of the law by setting up a situation where he can't get in trouble, but he's still going to kill who he wants to kill. Casey, for those of you who don't remember from Yellowstone, he has a pretty high body count, but not as high as Rip's, and he's not as vindictive as Rip. But it would seem to me that Casey's thing was he really doesn't want to be on the Yellowstone. He'd really rather be left alone. He's not wild about John Dutton, but then someone up and kills John Dutton and all his kids and Cole and Rip. They kind of bond together to get rid of the adopted douchebag Jamie, who is responsible for this. And we go through 5 episodes of Beth and everyone else just sort of winding down the Yellowstone story. And it seemed like it was ready to set up a Marshall story where it would be about his grief over his father and solving the father's murder a little more conclusively and holding someone responsible. Because the last time we saw Casey, if I'm not incorrect, in Yellowstone, he found the merc who set up the hit on his father, held a gun on the guy's kid, told him drive, then started beating him around the head and face with his automatic. And then when the kid started screaming, put the gun right back on the kid and said, "Yeah, you should be scared because I'll just kill you." And the father's like, please don't kill my kid. And he's like, why? Why not? F you. You're an asshole. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. And you're going to do this. Or I'm going to do this right now to your kid. And the kid's crying and screaming. And he's like, your dad put you in this position. It's not me. But if I have to do this, I'll sleep like a baby. And he got what he wanted out of the guy. He scared the fuck out of him. I don't know why he's accepting that guy's word of honor, but he did. And that was the last we saw of Casey. He got the mercs off everybody's back and got them to stop backing Jamie so Jamie could pay for what he had done. Although it looked like Jamie had no way out, Beth took care of it on her own, shall we say.
Yeah, Beth took care of Jamie, and then Casey took care of the body.
He went to the train station where all the Dutton enemies go, and it was a little bit sad, but I guess in the
And then Rick
Yellowstone,
took care of it.
right? Yes, but in the Yellowstone arc, what's kind of cool is the first and last person to go to the train station are Duttons, aren't they? Or does Donald, what's his name? Donald Plainview. Does his girlfriend end up there first? Does the chick that Lindy kills end up being the first person at the train station, or is it Liz Stratton's husband? I forget that Dutton's name.
I forget who was the first one.
They both kind of get sent there within one episode of each other, so who knows who got there first. But the train station starts being in use in 1923. That's when we see it first. It's Timothy Dalton's dumping ground for bodies. It's a patch in the park that's between 3 states on federal land. Nobody wants it. There's no jurisdiction. You're not supposed to go camping there. It's a real dump. Stay away. It's filled with bodies of people who've crossed the Duttons and the Dutton or two who went a little bit too far in a few places. What I found weird was the show's use of adoption and how that kind of worked around it. There's like most of John Dutton's posse, they weren't his kids, but he had basically adopted them and was father to all of them. He was father to both his daughter and his daughter's husband, even though he's not related to the daughter's husband. Rip doesn't even have a last name, so he has to go by Dutton too. So she goes from being Beth Dutton to Mrs. Rip Dutton. It's very strange, but they're not related.
Yeah, Rip was pretty much that man with no name throughout the series. He was John Dutton's right hand.
Every couple of years, somebody ends up slipping into the Dutton's barn to get out of the cold. And it's just kind of accepted that that's how things go in this part of the world. And then the last time we saw it, the person, the kid who slipped into the barn to try to get out of the cold, he had the worst luck ever. Beth found him. She kicks his ass for like 6 or 8 months and gets him to like behave the way that she wants him to. And then when she brings the kid out in public after like 8 months of like retraining him in a very illegal way, she like brings him out to buy him some clothes so she can go out in public. And the kid's like, I want a soda. And she's like, no. And it's like, well, fuck you. And he just grabs the soda anyway. It's just like kicking the crap out of her kid in public. And all these people are like, you can't do that. And this one Karen walks up with her phone. And Beth just grabs the phone and fucking football passes it into the wall. Thing explodes. And she's like, get the fuck away from me. And people are just like, whoa. And that's like, that's Beth Dutton. So we'll catch up to her later. This is her brother. He is not as much of a Dutton as the rest of them. He had his own life. He didn't want to be part of what happens. And I think the line we get in this one is, what is it? Violence is in the Dutton's DNA. Is that what the guy says? Murder is in the Dutton's DNA. Yeah. So I thought it was a good start. It's not the greatest start. It wasn't a clean start. It's not a clean piece of paper. We're sort of reinventing a character, and then we had to reinvent him again. It wasn't the easiest thing to do. So let's start with Crimon. Crimon! What do you think? What grade would you give this episode, and what did you think? Do you want to watch it next week?
Oh, as far as a starting off point, very bland. I really kind of had to think throughout the entire series of events, what I would even give this. A B, at probably a bit B minus. Not horrible, not the greatest. It was just kind of one of the most bland starts there is, but kind of gives you a leeway to potentially there being something good from it. At least there was some well-known actresses. Well, one of them, she did a lot of the stuff during the early 2000s. Did some movies, so I mean, it's not like we don't know one of them, and I think the cast is okay.
And she was playing like a college age chick in the early 2000s. So she's only like 35 now. It's not like one of the
She's
classic, much older actresses that
Yeah, I think she would. Yeah, she was playing like 18, so high school, college
She's
level,
like 30 now.
2005. So
Maybe she's 35.
Yeah, she's probably in her mid 30s. I'll stick with the probably B minus. I think there's room for improvements. It was an okay start. Just I don't know where it's gonna go.
All right, now we'll go with Germ, who's a little more of a Yellowstone expert. Give us an idea of what he thinks. Go ahead, sir. Take all the time you want.
Yeah, it was okay. It's not very Yellowstone, but I don't think they're trying to be.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're trying to be Yellowstone. I think they're trying to be their own thing.
Yeah, it's more like, as I said, it's more like FBI or CIA. All the procedural stuff that CBS basically spams out, but this has a little bit more quality than most of them, and more of a country theme to it, which is a little bit better. The cast is decent. Nothing really exciting about it, but nothing really wrong with it. So I think B minus is a fair grade.
Am I wrong in thinking that this is kind of similar to Walker, Texas Ranger meets the Yellowstone characters?
Yeah, it's a little bit like that.
I got a Walker vibe because we're going to make him a pretty badass, law enforcement guy. I don't think it will be as campy. I think it'll try to make it a little more grounded. Walker, Texas Ranger was syndicated TV that was like more fun than serious. It was a good show, but don't get me wrong.
They did a reboot recently too.
Yeah, it didn't work without him, right? You cannot recast Chuck Norris.
What's his name from God, what the? I can't. I'll have to get back on that one. I'm trying to remember his name.
Sounds like a great reboot.
Yeah.
So I'm just asking Grok right now to see if they used any of their other Paramount writers, crime writers on this one. There are no known writers, creators, or key personnel from FBI, CIA, Law and Order, or SVU directly involved in Marshals Yellowstone. The creator showrunner is Spencer Hudnut, known for SEAL Team with David Boreanaz. That show kind of sucked.
Oh, it started off good.
And bad episodes. Yeah.
It was Jared from Buffy from Supernatural that rebooted the Walker, Texas Ranger show.
I think what really hurt SEAL Team was a couple of years into the run, they cracked David Boreanaz's cell phone, and it was messages back and forth between him and Tiger Woods about how they both wanted to have sex with Derek Jeter, and he wouldn't return their phone calls.
Don't know about that one.
Could have hurt the show. Oh yeah, Google that one. The National Enquirer managed to crack open his phone.
The show went off the rails when they killed off basically the main character, which really wasn't David Boreanaz. It was centered mostly around the
guy who ended up on Magnum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he almost saved that Magnum show, but that Magnum show was Alex Kurtzman and unsavable. And once you found out Higgins was a female, you're like, it's just a countdown till these two fuck. And like by episode 4, they're fucking. It's like, why? And they don't really connect it to their MacGyver show or their Hawaii Five-0 show, even though all happen in the same proximity. Just missed opportunities left and right. And the MacGyver show, like, it was gonna go somewhere because chicks dug that actor, but you know what? I'll give it my grade. I thought it was average crime show with a start that could go either way. I can't give it an A. I can't give it a B plus. I'll give it an even B. There's stuff to work with here, but it could really go either way. That's the way I'm looking at it. And I feel like there's a substantial change to Casey that they're just going to make him into like a more law. They're going to try to do it a little slowly, but they're going to try to make like his mission in life justice. And also, like, we've seen that, like, if you do something fucked up to the people on the reservation, he gets crazy. So maybe like a good guardian to the Guardians. And yeah, it was a B. I didn't like his boss. I thought that was a total cutout, overbearing police supervisor, not his direct supervisor, the guy who was running the whole thing, the older dude from the state. He was just like popped out of a box for cranky police captain. He was exactly like the first captain in Miami Vice, just angry, didn't like the cut of these guys' jib, and he would have some better agents if he could, was my impression. Anybody on that guy? I thought he was the biggest weakness.
That's normal.
Yeah, I think they're going more for a Mod Squad type feel to it.
Could be.
Will they give him a real badge, or is he going to stay like deputy?
Well, he has a real badge now at the end of it.
Yeah, I saw the badge. Didn't he have the badge on at the end of the episode?
Well, he was badged up and geared up through the whole episode, but I thought he said he was moonlighting a couple of times. And like his boss was like, don't get out over your skis. You're not really a marshal. But then at the end, there was another conversation that I was like, by that time, like I wasn't that into the show by the time that final conversation. I was like dragged a little in the middle, didn't it?
I'll have to agree. I kind of felt like it did start dragging there.
Yeah, that I think was necessary to introduce all the new characters and set up everything. That's not going to be a weekly occurrence.
You're right. We saw a lot more people than we'll ever see in one place before, but I did enjoy that they were able to expand the cast in an organic way. That's why it's not an F. It's a B. This is not the Casey Dutton I remember. The Casey Dutton I remember, although they might have changed him for those last 5 episodes, was an empty, angry, ruthless guy who had to get some stuff done before he continued with his life. And then he was happy and ready to go on. And it didn't seem like he was the prime candidate for a show like Marshals, only if he was doing it like on behalf of his wife to protect the Guardians or something. It seems like her not being able to be on the show really wrecked stuff up, although some people are saying she just would have been a drama queen. Let's see what people have to say. Person of Interest is now on Netflix. Man, there are some good shows in the 2010s before things went woke. That last batch of non-woke shows before the teens, let's remember the people doing that had never had more time to do it. And also the Mike Sussman show from that time, wasn't he? What was The Last Ship? That was a good show that came right as the 20 teens kind of just destroyed everything and didn't have enough time to get off the ground. And I guess COVID ended production for too long on that one, but Last Ship wasn't a bad show. So we did see that. Go ahead, please.
It wasn't a bad show, but it's one of those Turner shows that the premise was okay, but then it got really complicated and they didn't know what to do about it. So
they had to complicate it because they didn't have enough use.
That was kind of a gift to them.
Yeah, they were able to like kind of foresee it coming and give it a smoother landing. I would say this, the thing with The Last Ship was they didn't have like a military ship to film on nonstop all the time. So they had to work around it. So we had a lot of claustrophobic scenes indoors where we just had drama. And then every like 5th episode, we'd go outside and start shooting it up with like the Al-Qaeda guys who were like infected with the zombie virus down at Gitmo and other stuff like that. But The Last Ship was a good Sussman show. We'll see what happens. Hey, Rocco the Brave is here. I like The Last Ship, says Miskatonic. It was enjoyable. It really was. Episode by episode, it was a good show. And their world building worked fairly well, too, where the guy went from what? He went from captain of The Last Ship to chief of operations of the Navy because there's just no one else left. Been rewatching Malcolm in the Middle. I remember I got into the show towards the end, so I remember how it ended. Been rewatching Malcolm in the Middle. Greetings, all. Greetings to Rocco the Brave, our friend. Say hello to our other friends. OB2, Wrath of Kenobi. Good to see you.
They're rebooting that show too.
They are rebooting Malcolm in the Middle. I don't know if it works without Bryan Cranston. Does he play Grandpa?
Bryan Cranston will be making an appearance on it.
The only person that's been showing up is the one that played the youngest kid.
Is that
longer acting?
Dewey and they write out the baby.
You know, you could use any of the kids. You could recast anybody. It's been 20 years. The other kid, the lead guy, was it Frankie Muniz? Like, he's over. He's out of acting. I don't think he cares.
I think he's
just have
back.
him. He could live in another city and come back once in a while, or be a regular. You have the choice with him. What are they doing with that?
I think he's coming back though.
Yeah, he is.
He ain't
He's
got
just-
much going on. His career.
No, he's
flamed
doing race
out.
car driving. He's been doing race car
Yeah.
driving for the last 10 years.
Yeah, something like
I
that.
was not aware of that, but race car driving's not my thing.
I think
I
he
live in the
does.
Northeast.
Was it the lower series for NASCAR?
Yeah, he's like 1 or 2 series below the top. He was doing the
And greetings.
last time I saw him.
So if you weren't here for this one, we just watched Marshals. It wasn't bad. B's all around, right? B's of varying levels. It was B all around. I thought it was an even B. Germ, what did you give it? A B minus, and Fremont gave it a B minus.
B minus. I either or. I could see where people would give it a B minus.
It could raise itself to a B minus if I should just give it a B. Even honestly, I'm amending my grade to a B. Here's the deal: if they pull this out into an interesting show that we want to watch every week, and we'll watch next week, then that makes the beginning of the first episode like a B plus because it's good damage control. There was damage control evident throughout this because they lost key cast members that they were planning on. They still got their show out. We'll see if it lasts. My understanding is it's a 10 episode run, which is why it's starting now.
I believe so.
I didn't catch any cursing or anything. They didn't have a special edition version for Paramount Plus, did they? This was the same episode.
No,
Seemed
it's
like-
going directly from CBS to Paramount Plus.
But they could shoot the episode they want, edit it down to TV length, leave 6 or 7 minutes of like more like extended scenes with blood, more cursing, etc., and have it both ways.
They could, but this show was specifically made for CBS. Paramount Plus wasn't a factor in their decisions.
Makes sense. Also, you would want to give Taylor Sheridan the chance to have a CBS show. It looks like he passed on it because Universal was too close to making the deal. People talking about Paramount Plus making a terrible mistake letting Taylor Sheridan go. While you're right, these were the choices: NFL, MMA, or Taylor Sheridan, or none of the above. None. You could have any two or none. Would that sound about right with their money situation when they did that deal?
You would think, but considering how much they just dropped on WB, it's hard to imagine them hard up for cash.
They weren't allowed to inject enough money into Paramount soon enough. Remember how they took control in phases and they couldn't stop Star Trek? So we don't know what went on with Yellowstone. We're not Yellowstone experts the way we try to get as much info on Star Trek. So who knows? We know this. They were always lucky at Paramount to ever have anything from Taylor Sheridan at all whatsoever, because Germ will tell you, hey, Germ, where did Yellowstone start? What network? Or what
I believe
streamer?
it was Universal.
It's a Peacock show. It is an NBC Peacock Universal show. So the fact that we ever got Taylor Sheridan working for Paramount is a miracle, because the Yellowstone show and everything else, that is owned by Paramount. I'm sorry, by Yellowstone. It's all owned by Taylor Sheridan, but it's owned by NBC, aka Universal. CBS, aka Paramount, owns the prequels. Now, whether or not Taylor Sheridan owns his own stuff retroactively, I would just give that to him so that he could continue the show, because it would be dumb. You have seasons 1 and 2 of 1923. If 1968 ends up being on NBC or Universal or Peacock, the fact of the matter is, we saw on this channel, what happens to my channel every time a new Taylor Sheridan show gets announced? What happens to my view count?
Constipation.
The opposite. It explodes. Germ, was that one of the most incredibly insane view counts you ever saw when they had the build up for 1923 season 2? The 50,000 view month.
Yeah, I think that's one of your highest.
It's going to be my highest for quite some time. I'll never have a 50,000 view month again. And 600 people joined the channel the month before Yellowstone. Now, we managed to get some of these people interested in Paramount's other shows like Star Trek. However, we do not do much with the Star Trek that's on now, except what we call sci-fi CSI, We are not fans, sirs and madams. We're not fans. Do me a favor. If you'd watch the browser tab on for 5 or 6 minutes, it'll make a major difference. Likes and hype really, really, really help me. Likes really help. And tweeting that I'm live off the browser lets YouTube know that people who watch my show try to bring people from other platforms there. So if you could do that to me and just, hit that hit that like button for me and share it out, that would definitely help me out, and I would really appreciate it if you're able to. If not, hey, that's life. You can't get everything you want, but if you could do it, it would help me out moving forward. All right, so Marshals, definitely worth watching next week. Has a lot of potential, has a frightening downside. Well, let's go potential first. We like these characters. We know these characters. They have some basis. We know this location. It was conceived by a really good showrunner who they can still call for the next 4 years. That's the upside. Jerem, what's your upside?
Doesn't have quite as big upside as most of the Yellowstone stuff, but still pretty good. It can be a better version of the procedurals that CBS puts out, but that's about all. The downside, I think, isn't very low either, but that just balances out that it doesn't have as high upside as possible because it's not going to be heavy drama.
Downside is it's the same as FBI and people aren't that thrilled with it. It's an okay show that goes away. Seems to be worst case. They know what they're doing a little bit.
Yeah, I think they get at least 2 seasons from it. Even if
I would imagine at 10
end.
episodes a season, you're right. They probably filmed them all already, right? Or they're ready to go with season. It's not going to be a 2-year layoff. And Taylor Sheridan's really picked up the pace. He's writing faster. His damage control has gotten better.
And he isn't writing this.
You don't have much of a choice when your seasons are going 10 to 12 episodes. You can easily crush your entire TV show nowadays.
With one misstep.
Yeah.
Ainsley and Angela at the hospital in Landman was almost an overdose of fatal destruction. And it's really weird. Taylor Sheridan did not pout and did not act like any other modern writer. He was criticized extremely heavily for going after people and not being the least bit woke. And so what did he do? He dials back the old folks home, which was tasteless. No one liked it. It just didn't work. It was a bold experiment. And I'll just, associate with y'all or a differential. Was it worth it to try to have these old people be weird and sexy and kind of obsessed with porn? I sort of think that maybe yes.
I found it annoying. It gave
work.
no plot to the show. It had nothing to do with Landman.
The question is, was it worthy?
It was accurate enough to real old people. Unfortunately,
yeah.
I've seen those old folks home. Sodom and Gomorrah doesn't have anything on those places.
Venereal disease and herpes suppression medicine and Viagra are the 3 top medications asked for at old folks' homes.
That's how I want to go out.
Yeah, John Dutton's end wasn't so good. I don't want to go out with a Kirari injection to the bottom of the foot.
I want to go out playing video games with a whole load of Viagra and other stuff.
Yeah, I want to go out watching hentai, with a whole load of Viagra in me.
Whole bunch of anime, hentai, everything going on.
Welcome, everybody. Did anyone come in and see? I saw Headcase. I saw Rocco. I saw Miss Katonic. It's great to see all you guys. And I know you're doing what you can to help the channel. The bandwidth has gone up so much in the last few months. I have to thank people like Germ, Crimwan, and Radioactive for giving me the advice to get the channel on the straight and narrow. So I guess the next thing we'll do is wrapping up our Yellowstone thoughts. I think the ugly downside would be, like I said, the basement would be just another boring procedural that people don't catch fire with. But it seems like these crime shows are so safe and so easy to make that, like, there's a reason the crime show is the most successful, longest enduring show in American TV history.
it's,
So Germ, criminal.
something that you see on the background in an airport or in a
Yeah.
doctor's office.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're in the hospital waiting to see somebody. You can watch Law and Order, and also like whatever. If an episode of
Jag.
SVU comes on, you're not gonna get up and turn it off. And yeah, Jag was a great show. That chick was beautiful. That was a great show. That was by the Magnum writer. He always puts his characters in the Navy.
NCIS, CSI, pretty much any
Right.
of the CSIs, Miami, Vegas.
NCIS was also by the Magnum writer. He always puts his characters in the Navy. Donald P. Barisario, right?
Sure.
All right. So
I think
yeah,
they're just playing it safe right now. It feels like I think they're just. It sure seemed like it was just let's open up safe. Let's see how this goes. If people think it's okay, let's see what we can do to make it better. Who knows?
and Yellowstone ended 6 weeks before the beginning. 6 weeks before 1923 ended. There was overlap. They Peacock decided to compete Taylor Sheridan versus Taylor Sheridan. I guess they were pissed, but what happened was the last 5 episodes of Yellowstone are like the worst ending of any show ever. But they're a decent launch. With 1923, we had a show that ended less bad than Yellowstone. But what happened? Taylor Sheridan's still slightly reeling from 2 mediocre, 1 terrible and 1 mediocre ending. He was so spooked by the ending of Yellowstone getting received so poorly, even though he could see it coming. He wasn't braced for it enough. Major revisions going on through Landman to get that one to season 2 of Landman should have wrecked up on the runway. Instead, all we need to do is some routine maintenance, right?
I think he may end up watching too many Korean dramas or something like that. Because in all honesty, it's no different than them. They know how to make a really good TV series and then just destroy it right at the end.
That's more J.J. Abrams and Damon Lindelof, where they just see, and also in streaming season 1, everybody's got a first act in them, right? How many people out there have seen acts of speculative fiction where the person has a captivating first chapter and then you never hear from it again? Winds of Winter, anybody?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a first act in them. If I shoved you out on the stage with a microphone in your hand, even through sheer awkwardness, you would be able to make people laugh for like a minute. Then they would start like being more demanding, and like the honeymoon period for a performer is much shorter than it is for even a politician or, whatever. So
You shove me out there, and just by sheer looks, they would laugh more than a minute. I don't know what you're talking about.
We've seen Krimlaw, and that would be, yes, he would bring the house down. But here we go. Yellowstone Marshals, last word. Seems okay. Bees all around. No one's afraid to watch it next week. Worth staying with for a little while. We will give an abbreviated report, just like we did this week, where instead of going 90 minutes, for about 45 minutes, we talked about the meta of the show. There's no specific particulars in the story yet. There's a mystery. And I hope they don't go mystery box. There were no no-go names in there. And I'm going to ask Grok right now if there's anyone connected with Alex Kurtzman or J.J. Abrams in the show. Just to make sure. Involved creatively. Let's find out from Grok. Let's just make sure that we're not going down a dangerous path. All right, let's see.
Grok. Let's go.
There are no known creative connections or involvement from Alex Kurtzman, J.J. Abrams, or anyone closely tied to them. All right, so they have a shot. They were not brought up in the mystery box fashion, and this appearance of a mystery, we already have clues. We're gonna find out. They seem to know who did this. We're gonna get closure to the mystery, or we're gonna get part 1 of the mystery, and they're gonna close it off season 2. Who knows? But they're going in a direction, and they already know who did this. It seems to me it probably came out of the Guardian community. That's sheer speculation. What do you think, Jerm?
I think
Is it a mystery box?
No, it's not a mystery box. I think they're going to add a little spice to it. In the end, it might come back to the director, the big boss of the team. I think
you might need to call Sheridan. If you call Sheridan up, he'll save your show like with like an hour's worth of thinking. All right, Crimlon, thoughts?
It was the one-armed man with the candlestick. I'm trying to figure out which room.
Conservatory.
Yeah, it could be the
Always
conservatory.
conservatory.
I was going to say the family room, but that doesn't seem too family-ish. So yeah, probably the conservatory. Yeah,
This
we'll see
sounds
how
like
it
a pretty
goes.
good movie show.
I'll be honest. That seemed very generic.
Here,
The way
I don't.
the whole thing goes. I think you're right. It probably definitely is someone that's from the reservation itself.
Headcase is a regular and a supporter of the channel. Let's indulge him right here. Playing it safe never works. That's what Boba Fett did. Boba Fett didn't play it safe. Boba Fett played it
There was
boring.
nothing safe. Wow.
They played it boring. When we found out that they were only 2 weeks behind air date and production schedule with no time to fix anything, and that explains so much of the garbage going on, that what they did was they flew by the seat of the pants, had to throw in 2 Mandalorian episodes, and I hear what you're saying. It's not like you're coming from a totally different universe on this one, pun intended. But the truth is, the Boba Fett show was just like so stupidly thought out. They fought against the experts on the lore, and they fought against the actor who wanted to do it. It was like the Ming-Na Wen show. And it's like, between Ming-Na Wen and Jennifer Beals, both of whom I've thought were hot all my life. Here's the reason why. Like, they're only like 7 or 8 years older than me. When I was 14 and Jennifer Beals was dancing around at like 21 in Flashdance, like, okay, what coming in my direction. But like, when now, like she's like what, like 64 years old or some crazy shit like that, or 62, the both of them. So I don't think that 124 years worth of sexy is really between 2 characters ever works out. You're talking like, that's almost as old as Mick and Keith combined.
That the fact you angered, you just straight up angered the dude that played Boba Fett for the last 20 years.
He actually didn't want to work for you anymore, and then now is in a really good movie that you showed me. What was that movie called that we saw at the theater? With Jason Momoa. A whole bunch of people you wouldn't.
The Wrecking Crew.
Check out The Wrecking Crew. It's a movie that no one would have expected was good enough with the people who are in it. It's on Amazon.
Correct.
Another show that sadly only got 1 season was Quarry. We mentioned this one. Yeah, I didn't see this one. Anyone know this one? It has to be kind of older for a Vietnam vet to be the hitman. Yeah, maybe it's from back in the day. A little bit older.
I'll have to look.
Context.
Why does it sound familiar?
Still wood on like clarification. There's a few people that Ming-Na Wen. I would want to see her in person because she's the same age as Michelle Yeoh, and it's picture to picture on Michelle Yeoh, isn't it? Photograph to photograph, and in section 31, it was scene to scene. Germ fell asleep in the middle of the episode and missed only saw the beginning and the end. She looked aged, she had aged between the beginning and the end of the show. Well, like,
I'm a lot younger than her, and I would make Michelle Yeoh.
She seems like she would be cool, but the one thing she did do was say, like, Disney or not, she's not going to weigh in on politics. I'm not even an American. Leave me alone. Like, I have American citizenship for tax purposes. Leave me alone. I don't presume to tell you how to run your country. So I take my hat off to her for that. But she's seen a lot of people like in a rolling, burning car wreck for like chiming in on politics, especially on the Disney side. I'm sure she got a very angry phone call from Mark Ruffalo that went right to voicemail on that one.
Who has
set in the 70s? Okay, that makes sense. That explains it. Ming-Na Wen and Jennifer Beals. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. For me, it's like a little more of an accomplishment. You're a bit younger than I am, but yeah, sure, why not? 2014-ish. Yeah, so the end of good shows. Like, that's when it's really starting. Like, there was no going back after 2014. Morrison was good with Urban. Carl Urban's good. Carl Urban can save a lot of roles. Even The Boys, which a lot of people have like horrible problems with. Carl Urban saves a lot of The Boys. The first season is the best, as you're saying, or the first season is the one you have problems with?
Oh, I love the first season of The Boys. Yeah. To me, it went downhill right after that. Thank you to the writer / directors being raging.
A lot of that had to do with those letters you sent every day to the actress who died in the opening episode, saying that she needed to lose a lot of weight and that she needed to get plastic surgery and she looked old.
That too.
Yeah, you should have gone a little easier on her, guys. The reason why she got the face scoop surgery and took so much Ozempic that she looked like a zombie is because Krimlon never let up on that actress. Way to go, Krimlon! Thanks a lot, buddy.
You were very welcome. I made her scream a couple times. Wait, what?
All right, so moving on, like no real problems with that one. Also going on Paramount Plus, we have the Wind Down, and this week it'll be at a special time, 10 p.m., where I don't think we'll address the episode at all because who fucking cares? It's going to be a cliffhanger. We're going to have to go over it again. We saw this week the beginning of what's going to be unplanned but needed to have a catch up in every episode. Basically,
right, I
don't know how to explain
mustard.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. An ad hoc 3-parter from Alex Kurtzman where he part 1 was 2 episodes back, part 2 was this episode, and part 3 and possibly part 4 will be next season. But part 3 will be episode 1 of next season, and part 3 will be episode 1, and part 4 probably shows up around episode 9 of next season of Starfleet Academy. Which can they just dump it all at once in one day so we don't have to review it?
That sounds like a lot of thinking for a show that doesn't require any thought.
Well, the thought would be on Paramount Plus's side. Just, Germ, if they're not legally locked in, what do you think? Drop it all in one day, walk away?
Yeah, if it's not a legal requirement, just dump it and go.
And to clarify, nothing is legal. What we have is binding contracts. So legal in the sense of sending someone to jail, no, but like huge payouts. Binding contracts, or what we've heard is retroactive possession of his own Star Trek rights so that he could fill the airwaves with his own bad Star Trek. And with Alex Kurtzman, that is particularly dangerous. We have seen that he will take $10,000 to slap together a story with extras and call it a story. That handheld episode of
ship it off to North Korea. You might get better viewership out there.
They would execute the entire cast and then
so
let's just say justice would be done upon Kurtzman. It's a win-win.
It's like a win to me. Win-win.
Well, right now there's 11 government agencies and 23 producers having a say in what goes on in it, and you can see with 10 episodes, like maybe those 11 non-U.S. government agencies that dole out their taxpayers' money to make woke TV, that might have been just enough for Kurtzman to get by, skim some money off the top, and make it. Because with 11 episodes, some of their causes may have overlapped. We only got 9 episodes of causes. One just had nothing going on. One just they were playing for time because no one gave them money to have a cause, and they have no causes of their own or feelings of their own. They're like, let's fetishize the shoes and feet for this whole episode.
That's just telling me that there was actually something going on in any of the episodes.
There were some things going on in the form of the message. The episode that didn't have the message also didn't have a story. How does that explain it?
You make a little more sense. The message you're supposed to be saying with a deep voice in an echo.
Yeah, I don't have my voice changer on. The message. How's that?
That works. That definitely works.
Yeah, I agree with head case here. Kurtzman will do anything for money and views. It's kind of a shame what's going on with Star Trek. We do think that he used his ability to make as much Star Trek as he wanted to, and his having definition of what consists of an episode really hurt them being able to curtail the damage, because there's one whole episode filmed on a fucking handheld camera where it's supposed to be a mockumentary documentary and a reality show mixed into one. And it was just done to get an episode out of the way. That was another one that didn't seem to have the message in it, except this show that's so cynical about everything, show the media as deceptive and bad. That was one of the weirdest contradictory SNW episodes. But we have 10 more of that and 10 more of Starfleet Academy, and we're done. It's an even 20, Germ, or 21. with this last one?
I'm not quite sure on the count.
I believe it's 5-5 for Strange New Worlds 2 seasons. And we don't know the episode count for season 2 of Academy, but 10 is assumed.
I would think so.
As little as 15, probably more like 20. Sound about right? Safe bet's 20, but no one's betting on this shit.
Yeah, that would be the most likely.
There's also a chance that Alex Kurtzman, by kicking some of this stuff into 2027, may have outsmarted himself, and they can do stuff like say, now we can edit it down to 120-minute movie. And it's like, but it won't make sense. And it's like, that ship sailed a long time ago, Mr. Kurtzman. Now please clean out your desk. The guard will escort you there with this box. And I want video of that. That would be the best thing ever produced by Paramount with Kurtzman, is him being walked out with a box full of his possessions, like his 5 Saturn Awards for like best, most wokest, fantastical show ever.
They would have gotten better viewership. Disney would have gotten better viewership by filming the whole KK out the door. But, you know.
So, yeah, as we move on and segue away from Star Trek, the last thing we'll say is it's confirmed. Marshals does not seem to be a mystery box at all. This is the granddaddy, the OG mystery box where it worked. This is what used to be called a whodunit. And we're going to find out who did it, right? Germ, what do you think? You're muted. Or the VPN went off. I'll throw this one to Krimlon first while Jerem gets it together. Krimlon, what do you think? Is this a whodunit or is this a mystery box? I'm thinking that they may be able to pay this off and they already know who did this. And if the show isn't great, they'll still have a cogent mystery solved at the end.
It may be a whodunit to begin with, but if the viewership doesn't go the way they hope it does, that they could change it real quick.
They could catch whoever it is right away and just turn it into a running, gunning cop show. Yeah, but I don't think they'll go mystery box. It seems like there might be some like, Taylor Sheridan will be like, you take my name the fuck off that if you go mystery box. I believe that they know who did it. Germ's back.
It's not going to go mystery box. If the ratings aren't solid and where they want them after 3 episodes, they're going to tie up that entire thing in maybe 1 or 2.
Actually, what I think they'll do is they'll kick the show to Peacock where it will still make money, cut the budget, and finish the story. What do you think?
They could do that.
It seems to be the safest thing. It's great. If it only kind of makes it on CBS, that means it'll be fine for Peacock. But everybody who's retweeted this and tweeted it off the browser, I want to thank you. And everyone coming through later hits like, I want to thank you. We got through our little bit about Star Trek. We think that the Kurtzman track, 20 episodes tops. We could have as little as 15. Strange New Worlds was made. We don't know about editing them down. We're praying for one-day drops. Here's my promise. One-day drops. We'll watch the first and last episode of each at most. What do you think, Jerm?
Yeah, that's probably fair.
And even possibly only the last episode of the last show he releases, and then like give the speech from the Omega Glory about what was ours before.
Yeah, the day he's gone, you're giving that speech.
I also think that I have to give a little speech that I've been working on my own about this, about what we left behind. That was the only words that could come up for it. It's Star Trek connected. I don't think people will mind me using it. You're a huge Deep Space Nine fan. Kurtzman track, Final Damage Report, what we lost, or what we've left behind. What do you think?
I'm waiting for your State of the Union.
State of the Federation is strong.
Yeah,
Sure,
I think that's better. That's better than ripping off a fairly controversial documentary.
Well, it's the name of the last episode too. There's a slight difference.
Remember the documentary now because of
it's one single entity.
Yeah, it's very good parts of it, but there are some outrageously bad parts of that documentary.
What outraged you? we're a Star Trek show, we can do that for a moment.
More of their season 8 ideas, those were god awful. It made you glad that there were executives over their head. If that's the type of stuff they're coming up on their own, DS9 would have gotten canceled after 2 seasons.
And we see why, after a little bit of a break and a fresh start, they do a good job with their new blood writers with Broken Bow, then fuck up season 2 of Enterprise because it's working out and they get involved too much. And then when the adults, so quote unquote, leave the room, the old Deep Space Nine and everyone else people, Voyager and Deep Space Nine people who'd been in there too long, and leave the people who had been the assistants on those shows to write, suddenly Enterprise really becomes a show that should have been saved. These last 2 seasons have really been pretty damn good. They were just done.
Especially season 4.
The Roddenberry hires were really done, weren't they?
Well, they all jumped ship to start work on the Battlestar reboot.
Which had everything that was good, but everything and more that was bad about Star Trek. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
They got their ideas for what they wanted in a sci-fi show, not so much loyal to the original memory of Battlestar.
The original Battlestar, they were not loyal to it. They were like loyal to like the general idea. The original guy getting on board and working with them and Richard Hatch being in it really helped it out. But I'm looking for the top 10 according to Flix Patrol for top 10 shows on Paramount, March 8th, 2026. The world has changed. Here we go. Number 1. Let's go all the way with this one. Number 1, we have South Park. Number 2, UFC. Number 3, Yellowstone. Number 4, Landman. Number 5, SpongeBob SquarePants. Number 6, Dave Ferrarius Como Ex America Latina. I can't tell if that's Latinx or Hispanic. We'll get into it later. I don't know. Looks like Mexican to me. Or is it Spanish? What, Kremlin, any clue? Covered it all, right? It's one of them. Then a show called Acapulco Shore. And at number 10, King of Queens. Anyone who says Queens isn't still topical will answer to me on this one. I don't see Starfleet Academy on there. Do you?
There's only one true King of Queens that I know of.
Admiral Teague.
Yes, him and his rainbow flag.
And soon, New York Jets phase pistol that we're gonna have a cool unboxing of for channel members. I loved the way it looked. I can't wait to see it. Everybody is getting a phase, like people are getting phase pistols from Kremlin. Kremlin is like got a phase pistol replicator. I'm getting a New York Jets one that's done up for me. Sean's getting his unassembled so that he's probably going to have a working phase pistol, and like his neighbors better watch out because he'll make it really work. But the overview here for our stream, is this minutes or hours streamed? 250, I'm going to guess million. The most popular movies and TV shows on Paramount Plus in the world. Who was number 1 on Paramount Plus March 8th, 2026? Top 10 charts, full ratings charts. Check the title detail for more streaming analytics. Top movies were Mission Impossible Final Reckoning at number 1, Scary Movie 2, The Naked Gun, World War Z, Scream 6, Scary Movie 3, Scream again, and 10, Novocaine. What's the deal? Scary Movie and Scream are getting relaunches?
Did you just see the trailer for the new one? That's Scary Movie 6, and it's actually being done by written by the Wayans brothers. So it's actually the Wayans family doing it again.
So new life for Scary Movie, and we'll get to see Anna Faris again, I hope.
Yeah, I believe most of the original casting from the first one.
Awesome. All right. Naked Gun, we understand, like a not so great Paramount movie. It's been hanging out on there for a really long time. If the movie's like the commercial, it was like cringe, 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 real laugh, legitimate laugh, cringe, 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 real laugh, legitimate laugh. And the thing was, it was like I didn't know how to feel about it because it was just like, so the hell kind of feeling
if you're
about
a
it.
fan of Police Squad, not so much
I
the
was.
Naked Gun movies, I think you'd like it.
I was a fan of the Naked Gun movies. Police Squad was all redone better as the Naked Gun movies. A lot of the same jokes. Exactly the same jokes.
Yeah. But if you're a fan of the show, I'd say more so than the original movies, because those movies really leaned on not Liam Neeson, but
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, Leslie Nielsen.
Mr. Pamela Anderson. Which would be a good idea if he had a time machine.
Yeah, I barely recognized her when when I saw that movie.
Nowhere in the world, in no country, is Star Trek trending. It's not in the top 10 today. It's not in the top 10 at all on TV shows. It didn't make it. And that's Paramount. It doesn't give me the matrix here of what the 250 is. It's not hours. That's 250 million streaming minutes, right?
It'd have to be.
It's got to be minutes.
All right, so 250 million streaming minutes for South Park. UFC 192 million streaming minutes. Considering a UFC event is 1 hour plus a 25-second fight, pretty fucking good. A lot of people wanted to see that 25 fucking seconds.
Sure seems like a 25-second fight.
Yeah, it's pretty much only one event, too, for the month.
This was more important to them than Taylor Sheridan, but Yellowstone comes in next. Why is Yellowstone showing up on Paramount Plus? Do they have limited rights to reshow it, or what the hell? Did they get this wrong and it's 1923? No, it's Yellowstone proper.
No, they have the rights to show pretty much all of it.
It was all right. So Yellowstone proper now on Paramount Plus, because everything else is accurate. I don't know what the hell Acapulco Shore is. A reality-based look at the vapid lives of several Mexican 20-something and their respective friends and/or hookups, and their stay in Acapulco for a summer vacation. 3.4 out of 10.
Oh, that's basically the Jersey Shore garbage.
Yeah, but it's Jersey Shore Latino.
The show is showing up as number 9, beating the shit out of Star Trek with an unlikable cast that everyone hates and called vapid and inconsequential. So
bunch of Karens and house was it? A bunch of Karens and
what you're saying is the situation would be considered an eloquent speaker in this group.
Yeah, I'd say be similar to that of a PhD candidate compared to
Wow. So Paramount, they did acquire Warner Brothers this month. A lot of cartoon stuff, a lot of monsters. I believe the Universal monsters ended up eventually with Warner Brothers, but Paramount had them fucking first, right? For a minute there, because that's why why do they nonstop talk about the Universal monsters the first 2 seasons of Enterprise?
I know they originally belonged to Paramount. Then the rights bounced around because
Paramount was broke.
Well, yeah, and after that Mummy movie with Tom Cruise and Dracula Untold, the property became sort of toxic.
The Dracula Untold wasn't that bad, but that Mummy movie was just horrible.
Guess who directed and wrote it?
I'm afraid to say.
Alex Kurtzman. That was an Alex Kurtzman production.
Poor Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's one of the very few mistakes he ever made.
Why the hell did he allow Alex Kurtzman near him? Is Alex Kurtzman in the church? Is that why?
No, I believe Tom Cruise was a late add-on to that movie.
Yeah, that was definitely a poor choice by him.
He got a check. He didn't fucking care. It didn't hurt his career.
Yeah, but he's usually fairly protective over his career.
Yeah, but he's also the person who made a bunch of Scientology movies in a row and nearly tanked himself. Edge of
Well,
Tomorrow is
that's
kind of the
religion.
only watchable one. Yeah, how'd that work out for Travolta with that same religion? Moving on.
Same for Will Smith.
Yeah, except that he's not admitting to it.
Well, he has certain lifestyle choices that the church isn't really approving of. Excuse me while I go take care of some little Mexican children.
What a wonderful thing Germ does. He takes care of people on his spare time while he's YouTubing. He's a wonderful person.
Great
World War Z.
multitasker.
Here's the deal. There's talk of a World War Z streaming series or a new World War Z movie.
I would love to see a second movie to that, or even a TV series. If they
The
kept
second
it,
movie has to take place the same time as the first one with a different character.
Agreed.
So I don't want 66-year-old fucking Brad Pitt running around like, all right.
he did a great job, though. I would
He
like to
did
see the
20 years
continuation.
ago.
I would like to see the continuation of it 20 years later or 10 years afterwards, where they're still trying to fight it. They're trying to, move on from it.
Everyone he knows would have to be dead to give the movie anyway. And they weren't doing well enough. They were losing. They hadn't even begun to slow them down, if I remember
Do
correctly.
you not remember the end of the movie?
No, I don't. I don't.
I never finished
honestly
the
don't.
movie.
Yeah,
At
it
the
was
end of the
going
movie,
okay.
they found a way to kind of fend it off and then fight the zombies. It kind of left it open ended for a potential second movie.
I know they did, and that was the intention. But what did 13 years go by?
Yeah, I want to say it's probably right.
Yeah, like 28 years later is actually like less close to
2013?
its time frame.
Yeah, it's 13 years ago.
Yeah, and like the movie 28 years later is only like 14 years later from the last time we checked in with them 28 weeks later. So like when that's closer to accurate, I mean, I don't know. It could work, it might not. It remains to be seen if the zombies are going to be continuously recurring or they're going to be hit or miss recurring. I don't know about that one. Zombies have been big a couple of times. This is weird. So these are all the Paramount Plus countries.
These were the
and
really
what's
weird
big
zombies too. They weren't like your normal zombies. You had to literally destroy every portion of them.
You got to go with the Australians. Like they know how to live life. The top movie there is Naked Gun. Top movie here is Roof Man. What the fuck is even that? Oh, The Running Man.
What is
How is that even
Man? The original one was good with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right. No, this one has Glenn Powell, who people like, but he's Scary Movie is #1 in Mexico. Colombia, which is Mexico anyway, Scary Movie. I like my Colombian tacos better than the Mexican tacos.
How dare you?
There, I said it.
How dare
I
you?
like Hispanic people, but the Latinx has got to go. I don't like Latinx tacos. World War Z was good.
Yourself.
I'd like to see the actual anthology of stories. Yeah, the book was good. I'm sorry. The World War Z book was good. I'd like to see the actual anthology stories, but done right. That's a different thing that would not relate to the World War Z we got from Brad Pitt, right? Because we meshed too many of them together, if I remember correctly, from like breezing through the book. I didn't seriously deeply read the book. I had a lot going on in life for a while there when my life was a disaster. Full disclosure, I'm okay now, but like there was a point there where I got so sick that I almost died. So like I didn't give a fuck about a lot of stuff for a few years there, and it was a pretty long recovery period. I'm not Hispanic, but boy, do they love horror stuff, so it makes sense to me. Yeah, they do, and they love speed metal. If you made a speed metal horror movie, maybe that's why Rob Zombie made so much money. Everyone in Mexico just went to see it over and over and over and over again. But like that's the state of Paramount. Right now on the business end, let's take a quick look at their stock before we close out the show. And we'll look at Paramount Universal. I guess it's Paramount Skydance stock, right? Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's official now, isn't it?
It's called Parasky, right?
Yeah. I just couldn't remember. I knew they had agreed to terms and everything had gone through. I just didn't know if it was completely official.
Yeah, Peace Guy
believe
is the
October.
trading name.
Peace
The
guy.
trading name is Peace Guy.
That
Yeah,
is horrible. I like it.
It's going to be Para again soon. Believe me, they're going to go to
I'll
Paramount.
take some peace guy.
So Peace Guy Corporation primary is Germ. Hey, think about how great the Triumvirate did. It's up 0.25 over the course of the day. I'll go for a longer matrix in a moment, but right now trading at $11.99 at close of market March 6th.
So everything hasn't fallen apart for them. They're about where they were before the sale.
Up about $2, right? It was like $9.75. They would sometimes
I
spike
believe
to
that's where they
16.
bottom out.
I'm assuming
Sometimes spiking at 16.
it'll take about 2 years for the companies to completely merge.
Well, with
Look at
the
whoa,
adding the NWB, yeah.
guys! Here's the Paramount chart. Look at this over the course of the whoa, sirs and madams. This goes back a year. And look, Germ, if we let's see if we can go back a little further. If we go back 5 years,
Can you zoom in?
I can. I think I can. Yeah.
There you go.
So here we go. As I zoom in, let's go back to where Germ and I made our prediction on.
Zoom in and enhance.
Give me a hard copy there. On the 24th of 9/23/2024 or 9/25/2024, Germ and I had the Alex Kurtzman fired. It was worth $10.79, so it's up $1, but it shoots up at trading time to $18, a high of 19.23 over the trading period. Drops down, and so I believe that this is the Star Trek effect, stabilizing at $12, and then on 126, so like full swing of Starfleet Academy, it starts fucking falling like a stone, and it's starting to rise again now because Starfleet Academy is over. I predict this hits $13 in 2 weeks. Don't invest. We're not an investment show. We're just guessing. This is for entertainment purposes only. Jerem, what do you think?
I think it's going to be around, give or take, $2. This mark for at least until the WB thing goes completely through. It's not going to cause too much of a stir. Until they merge the stock, it's all beyond. All the movement's going to be with WB.
Yeah, I think you're just going to end up seeing it low like this for a while. It's going to take a while to recover, I would assume.
Do you guys agree that it was possibly Star Trek that did the damage?
Well, it doesn't help that was a Chris Pine and the rest of the original the cast from the movies in the early 2000s has basically trashed Star Trek recently.
Why shouldn't they after what they were put through?
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams tanked a few of their careers.
Well, not only that, they were trashing how woke has gotten, how horrible the TV series are.
And how they're expected to go out. Well, here's the thing. All of these people go out there, right? And you've got the TOS people, the TNG people. You've got the Voyager people. You've got the Enterprise people, the Deep Space Nine people. And then you've got the Kurtzman Trek people. And some people have, ended up in both camps. People like Sirach Lofton saw what happened to people who ended up in both camps. He's like, damn, if people fucking hate Patrick Stewart now, whoa. I'm glad they're not interested in my show. Then they glommed onto Deep Space Nine and started talking to him. And he's like, they're going to do this with or without me. And I'm going to have to answer questions about it no matter what. I might as well make some money. Let's see what I can do. And he's like, I'm going to take one for the team and fuck 20 Newsom. Jesus Christ. He's like, yeah, I've been thinking about experimenting with a guy for the first time ever. My speculation. And he's like, oh, God, okay, I did what I had to do. And he's like, I need to advise you on this script so that you don't outrage everyone. And I think that Sirach Lofton probably nerfed the damage of that. And a lot of people speculated that the final sequence where he's talking as it's Cisco in the form of Sirach Lofton, and the hologram we see earlier is the only time we see Jake. It's actually Benjamin at the end.
Yeah, that's the major theory.
Because Ben Cisco, they weren't going to give him any money, so they went hateful on this one, and they analogized it to a certain Abrahamic religion, which does not allow you to depict an image of anything, and made Cisco representative of the Bajoran culture, which is now that religion, just bringing division to Star Trek.
Well, he's no longer an actor anymore, so I don't think he really cares.
He cared. He cared enough to defang it. That was the worst episode of Star Trek we'd seen until that time. The thing was that there were so many missed opportunities for it to be worse that we think he defanged it. Real quick on that one, Germ, you were the big Deep Space Nine expert on this one, and you know everything about New Trek, unfortunately, that I do now. So what do you think? Did he read the tea leaves, say, I depend on most of my income from these Star Trek fans. I don't want this to happen. I really do want things to work out. So I have to, I'm stuck with this anyway. I don't want to have to be like, dealing with the fans being angry at me. I don't want my living to go away. I'm not acting anymore. I bought a house off this. I don't have to do anything but interact with people. I'd like it to be friendly. I need to defang this Deep Space Nine script that they're going for, where the Derp Space Nine attack on my show.
Yeah, Lofton, I think he just did it for the paycheck and to minimize the damage. He knows not that he knows not to go after people, unlike some other
not very woke
actors.
No history of woke activist statements, no history of crazy statements. Private citizen mostly since the end of Star Trek, right? Has he acted in anything? He directed a couple things.
He did some behind the scenes stuff. He did a couple of I think his Love of Basketball for MTV.
Yes,
so
and also
he wasn't a regular on that.
He's cooperated with what do you call it? Anybody making a Deep Space Nine documentary of value.
Yeah. And for the most part, the major thing he's done was the podcast he was doing for a long time.
Which depended on the goodwill of the fans, which he couldn't lose, and depended on Deep Space Nine not taking too much damage. I believe that he convinced Tawny Newsome to go in a certain story direction that defanged some of the damage. That was the worst story we'd ever seen. It just could have done a lot more damage to Deep Space Nine. Germ, what do you think?
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Let's talk about some of the things they could have done. Bring back Nana Visitor to talk about how Odo violated her.
Oh, she said no. He's
that
literally the only guy who would come back.
Plan.
He was literally the only one who would come back.
So you think it's a hybrid method? He likes money, but also he's like, someone needs to protect this because it's going there are less and less people online every year. We're commanding less and less. We were lucky to get money last time for San Diego Comic-Con. These clowns are confronting and angering our older fans. Some of our older fans are, I had a guy with a MAGA hat who told me he loved me and paid $400 for the whole full package for a full set of pictures. I can't hate anybody because you know what? They all love me. These people just don't get it. They're too angry. I'm not getting shitted up with them. And looks over to the next table and sees Robert Picardo with almost no one online and two woke weirdos. And the person at Sirach's table turns around to Picardo and is like, fuck you, Sirach, I love your work. Right? I mean, he's seen stuff close to that, if not that. He's been on Star Trek cruises. He's been at every con. Am I hallucinating here that that's what it's like? Anyone want to extrapolate on what I'm thinking? Go ahead, Crimon. You can chime in on this one too. Protecting his income and making a buck.
I don't even know anymore. I'm assuming that he would have had to have witnessed it, but that would presume that most of these people have any kind of intelligence.
What if we found the holocron where we had the story of how Goldicott and Nana and Kira ended up getting married?
Oh, that's a
Gonna be-
scary one.
Kind of hard to do since Gul Dukat is basically stuck in hell at the end of that series.
Right?
Doesn't matter in this Star Trek. He could have escaped. He got out with the help of the Venari Rawl. And by the way, you gotta love a show with a bad guy faction we've seen only one member of. He doesn't have a droid. He doesn't have a henchman. What the fuck? How are we supposed to buy that?
He's a goal.
He has so much power, more power than the Federation. He created 10 to the 16th trillionth power WMDs if they have a 1 light year dispersal of subspace destruction to hem in Earth, to hem in our solar system. And based on some Voyager
you're thinking
science,
too much of this. It's above your head. Sir.
it's above my head, but not above my pay grade, because that's the purpose of this channel. And we're happy to have you guys here with us to speculate on Paramount. We think it's going to get as hot and spicy as Disney. So we're slowly getting up to speed. You guys are in really early on the ground floor of something pretty good. Trek Reviewer, hi, I didn't see you come in. I'm sorry I missed you. Oh, wait, no, I did. That was Miss Katonic's comment. Sorry I missed you, Trek Reviewer. Hello. You know what? Here's the deal. With as much money that they boasted to spend, which would pay 1 year's worth of NFL player payroll only for the entire league. Correct, Charm? 30 movies, 30 10-pole movies, 200 to 300 million. That's payroll for an NFL team for a season. Not coaches, not anything else. Players, sir.
That's the salary cap, right?
Yeah. The salary cap's $300 million for the 2026 season.
But it's average for a movie, isn't it? Of what we're seeing these days.
Unless you're Disney.
For the
Disney manages to double it sometimes.
Yeah, what would be equivalent to a AAA title is average between $200 and $300 million. But I think Paramount is targeting 75 to 150 million.
I think that's a sweet spot. That's a good sweet spot. You should be able to do decent graphics, good storyline, and everything.
You know what? Freeze the ticket prices. They have to anyway. They have cut down on the labor they need at the theater. This could save theaters. Now that the Warner Brothers deal is done, the earlier rhetoric from David Ellison was that he would release 30 theatric movies a year. And Germ is saying something different, that he would go for a sweet spot. But the thing is, the flex was that he was saying, like, there is a possibility I will put out the payroll of like half the NFL in movie money, if it's what you're saying, in the sweet spot. Or I'll put out 3 top-tier NFL teams worth of cash and like 20 movies that cost like 175 to 175 million. And people would be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think the model is either monthly or quarterly. You'll have the big time blockbuster, so about maybe 6 a year for the 200 to 300 million, and then the rest are going to be the just.
But is it a blockbuster for each? Would Paramount release a love story and Warner Brothers release a monster movie, and then Paramount release a sci-fi and Warner Brothers release like a rom-com? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is probably what they'd go for.
I'm dying.
So you could have
sci-fi movie.
So you could have 8 quarterly movies. You could release one tentpole blockbuster per quarter without competing with yourself, with a little bit of coordination. This is the most encouraging story, and I would like to get the reaction. We've talked about it a little bit, but we haven't talked about the reaction. And as we look at this chart from Yahoo Finance, look at the sharp drop at the when does this drop start?
Did you get head cases?
2021. I did not see it. Thank you very much. Headcase, thank you very much for the amazing super chat. Let me just get the long range sense just to acknowledge it before I even look at it and read it, because you deserve it. And you deserve the Sir montage. You saw I was late.
We
Sir, he's very busy. Sir. Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
Admiral Teague, incoming super chat.
All right. Who would have thought Yahoo would survive? They bought a lot of semi-viable things that made money for low cost, like this Yahoo Finance thing. People look at it all day and they sell the advertising cost. It's accurate and it's easy to do. So they got smart. Who would have thought that Lycos would survive?
Yeah, but I thought Yahoo was bought out by someone a long time ago.
They were one of the many names feeding into the first company that was Yahoo. Lycos didn't have a recognizable name. They bought Yahoo.
Verizon
Lycos
bought
was
them
the
out.
root company.
Verizon bought
All
them
right.
out.
Yeah.
It starts spinning towards one big corporation. Is there a stopover at Singular? Like, isn't there like involvement with Singular Cellular too for a minute there in Yahoo? There's a lot, much weird
Singular
shit
was bought out
happened.
by AT&T.
Yes, AT&T Wireless got that one, which is not AT&T. It's McCall's Cellular, otherwise known as Cellular One, which was Singular. All they did was buy the name. It's a leasing arrangement. AT&T Wireless is not AT&T. AT&T is landlines. So you haven't used AT&T in a long time, most likely. But yeah, who would have thought Yahoo would survive? The thing is, they didn't get out over their skis and overinvest. Google, like a little more of a rocky history. And hello, Mr. Angel, my friend. It's great to see you. And wow, the Buffalo Sabres versus San Mateo Lightning game ended with a score of 8-7 Buffalo.
Wow, that's a high score.
Wait, isn't that the score
hockey.
of the
That's
Patriots
NHL.
Buffalo game though? Isn't that also the score of the Patriots Bills game?
Yes, pretty much.
That was old time football. If that game was 10-7,
was it Patriots?
Germ didn't bet on that game, so doesn't know the odds offhand. Or
that was basically the Patriots Broncos game from the AFC Championship.
What was the score of the Seahawks in the championship game, Germ?
Patriots didn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Did they cover?
I think the Seahawks covered the spread. I think it was pretty huge.
I'm not going to lie to you. They had him at the end of the first half, but Tom Brady didn't appear, so they didn't make a comeback and win. All right. I thought AT&T was bought by DirecTV. They had like a cable division and a TV division, but they might have been.
It was the other way around. AT&T bought out DirecTV.
Yeah, because AT&T has a broadcast rights. By the way, guys, Cablevision AT&T was the cable company in England for decades. If I have that right, it was someone unexpected like that. But damn, look at this drop that starts for them in 2021 with just. This is like their Star Trek movie tanks. The crown jewel was definitely Star Trek. Here's like, we're getting by on sequels. Then we just start tanking out over and over and over.
Go look at 2020. That'll tell you a lot of it. That just where they got all high and mighty off of the beer bug. Because you see 2021 right there, where it's dropping off. It's just tanking.
All time goes back to
it just skyrocketed during that time period during the beer bug, and then it just tanked.
The beer bug?
Yeah.
The Mexican beer bug.
Yeah, inflated all of the entertainment prices. They rushed out all the streaming services, and that became the new normal for them, and then they didn't realize people were going to go back to their lives.
We're going to go back outside because we're allowed to.
We're only at 2018 right now.
Well, look at 2020. You see where it starts skyrocketing because it was into 2019 into 2020.
At the end of 2020, this is the beginning of what happened.
Correct.
March 2020. For some reason, it crashed. Why does it crash? Was there no one there to flip the switch to turn it on and then went dark for a week?
Who the heck
Everything kind of crashed around Easter time of 2020.
So this is an anomaly.
After that, they realized, hey, let's do the streaming stuff. Everyone's locked up. And
Could've been,
that's
yeah,
where
back that
everything
week.
goes up.
They couldn't get
Jesus
anything into
Christ, they
theaters.
went to 64.50.
Yeah, they couldn't get anything into theaters, so that makes a lot of sense.
Competing with Disney right there. Then as it goes on, like
You go look back at Disney, you'll see the exact same thing.
22 was their last chance to get it together. Star Trek tanks them again. And this has just been like the uncertainty. And look at this. Now it's like it's jumped up above this. The red line is
This
at
content is garbage. There's like
red line is at $12.
Head case right there is saying it perfectly. They had all the advantage with everyone being forced to stay at home. Content was garbage because they're pushing out everything they can, and majority of it was woke, just trash.
They didn't realize that people were watching their back catalog on Disney. People were like 101 Dalmatians from 1970. Oh, God, what a great movie. People were like, The Sound of Music, I love it. People were like, oh, Snow White, I love it. And then Disney's sitting there watching these numbers go up and taking all the wrong lessons. They're like, we must remake Snow White. And then they're like, we can fix it. And it's like, wait, this is blowing up your streaming service. Don't do this. And we can see how they took all the wrong lessons. You could kind of extrapolate that from it. But Paramount, it's never going to go back to what it was, not in the next 4 or 5 years at least. And money has been reordered since the beer bug, now that I know what it is. Money has been reordered. It's sitting around at $12. It's up from what it was when Jeremy and I made the production, but not by a significant amount. It spiked during the acquisition because they had to offer a good price to get all of it. So they gave an extra couple of bucks.
It's kind of hard to buy back your reputation, though. When you've completely and utterly destroyed your reputation, you can't just go out and buy back.
Grimlon, there are a million plastic surgeons suing this channel right now because of what you just said, but you might be right. The thing is this. I don't know if Star Trek's reputation is as deeply affected as we think, because one, the people hardcore dishing against it right now will push just as hard for a relaunch and give it a chance, and if it works, they'll be behind it. So that will change very, very quickly. Also, the people who are saying that this new track and the 10-year hiatus, people are saying we'll take the 10-year hiatus before we'll take one more minute of your show. So that seems to be a done deal to me. Go ahead.
I guess depends on if the Ellisons are willing to sit there and watch their money be thrown away, and I just don't. I don't really see that.
The Ellisons seem to be able to absorb this the way you and I absorb someone keying our car.
They can absorb it.
I have to fix it, but I don't have to fix it today.
Them lose. They don't like losing money. They could absorb it. That's understandable. But they're gonna.
How's this one? Ruining Kurtzman later for revenge.
Things.
How about just ruining? How about they go ahead and ruin Kurtzman afterwards to make themselves feel better, and then they launch a Star Trek movie that makes money. The thing is, if you're thinking long term, I own a football team. They're losing this season. Do you sell the football team? You try to get new fucking players and win.
Everyone. You fire
the guy who mops the floor. Yeah. You fire the guy who fucking washes the toilets. You fire everybody. The guy who fucking brings in the dry cleaning. Everyone gets fired. You get new washing machines. You fucking bury every game ball miles from the stadium, and maybe you change the team name. But you didn't
Comcast go through the same thing where they thought they could get directly into a lot of this and ended up losing a lot of money and then jumping right back out real quick?
Yes, they jumped in and out, if I remember correctly. I choose diving into a black hole head first over watching Modern Trek at this point, to be honest. Mr. Angel, the good news is Modern Trek is on life support. It's all been made. Whether or not it's all going to be shown, kind of still up in the air. Germ and I don't know what to make of it. Germ, you're a gambling man. You think they'll find a way to edit this stuff down or do one-day drops to get it out of the way? Or do you think they're so locked in at this point, it seems like they would have dropped the rest of Starfleet Academy by now, wouldn't it?
I would think at most, I'd say they'd drop all of Strange New Worlds in one go. But that's
do that last second pump and dump.
Could we be so lucky? And no one will ever watch it. If they dump it all in one day, no one will ever watch it.
Pump and dump directly to their streaming services and
watch it tail there.
Yeah.
What they should do is memory hole it in less than a year.
I would do. I don't know if is it too late for them to do what they did to Batgirl, where they just act as if it didn't happen and.
No, in fact, we're going through this so they can do that. Jerm, go ahead.
I believe once it go within 6 months of Kurtzman's contract being completely over and done with, everything is going to be pulled off of Paramount Plus. It's going to be shoved on a hard drive and put in a desk somewhere, and no one will ever speak of it again.
Be no different than what Disney did with Willow.
That they should Willow it. They should memory hole it. They should not have a tab for it. You should not be able to access it. They should stop selling it, and whoever owns it. But if you try to broadcast it on TV, they should sue. Starfleet Academy is not Star Trek. It's honestly some kind of live action meme. It's not even that. It's terrible.
It's
close enough description.
It's a horrible 2000 CW show.
It's CW is so much better than this. Don't say that. CW is worth $5. Okay. Mr. Angel says, Headcase says, bring back tight, beautiful uniforms and strong male, female captains. Yeah, who are beautiful and who are competent and who were believable and who didn't have stupid ass reasons for doing things, and stop messing with weird stuff from Voyager that you don't understand, and like the Donald's particle, Omega particle. They had to change it to Omega 47. Obviously, we knew exactly what they were doing. We saw at the end of one set of credits, 11 different government agencies participated in making the last episode, one of the last episodes of New Trek, plus a shoe contract, and they fetishized those shoes nonstop. I believe that New Zealand and like what they thought was the CGI, like Tachyon, they got one by Tachyon. He was like, well, Denmark only did the CGI. And I'm like, read it again. It says the Copenhagen Global Initiative. So what the fuck was their reason to want this on? Like, oh, we're a bunch of strange guys who like polyamory. Look, there's a lot of crazy rumors going on about Steinep's Pleasure Planet and Frey J. Steinep, who worked at Harvard, who was a professor of economics. He had Steinep's Pleasure Planet. I think everyone knows what I mean now, right, Jerm?
Yeah, they should.
Okay.
Who?
I think that some of this stuff speaks to the conspiracy theories about how rich elites are really weird and crazy might just be somewhat true. I don't know about the stuff they say they found on Steinep's communicator, but
is it that old adage that I don't know, something talked about power, absolute power, something around the corrupting and
it was good mean.
All power, something around that area, with constipation and other such.
By the way, you guys have the freedom of speech, like putting Steinep's name in the right way, but like leaving out putting a hyphen where the S is or something like that. Like we'll know what it is, and we're not afraid to talk about it. It's just that we want to dance around. And like, here's the thing: when I first started, I sort of was like taken in by a group of YouTubers, and I mean taken in. I thought that they were looking out for me. They kind of weren't.
You want to brag about that?
No, I don't. But I think it would do everyone some good as I wrap up. I was taken in, and I was somewhat taken advantage of. Anyone going into streaming, don't trust me. Don't trust anyone else. Be very circumspect. Be very careful. Get to know your friends before you share anything. You know what? Private. I'm going to pull Kamala Harris on you. I'm speaking. Be real careful. One of the problems that we had in growth was that we had a guy who was just like, we were getting triple reported on every stream. All right. It was all fake, but like, it's going to fuck up the analytic. We're having other analytical warfare used on us. And like, it took us forever to fucking figure it out. And I feel like an idiot now that I didn't. But between me and Jerm, I think we drove that U-boat out of the sea and forced the captain to come on deck and admit who it was. I think everyone knows who did it now, right?
I believe so.
And we put on 800 subscribers since October. So I think that us taking care of that problem, and maybe 1,100 since July. Does that sound about right? The date the conflict ended?
That is about right.
Yeah, about 1,100 subscribers. We welcome you all here. A little bit of the channel lore is we came in under so much pressure that we have decided that what we need to do is make a word game to get through the censorship so that we can tell you how we're feeling. And the only way to do it is blank-a-doodle-doo if you saw private parts. So we dance around it. There's a reason we call the Middle East the central non-West. We also believe if you don't say the word too many times, you'll probably be okay. So if I want to say cucked once, I'll do it and then I'll move on. And then we have shows where we have Kremlin on. But anyway, we'll be back next week with more Paramount Plus stuff. We're going to check in on Marshals. Jerm might do the watch party. That's on him. I'll probably go if he has one. I'm enjoying it. It's not terrible. I'd like to see where it's going still. If it runs out of steam or has a bunch of problems, I wouldn't be surprised. But if they recover, I would not be surprised either. Wow. Overall, over the last, since 2005, they're down over $60.
I'd say fair warning. Anytime you see me on any of these shows here, you know it's going to be a very lowbrow episode.
One of the smartest people I know. Don't chill. I like having you on. What's fun though is when we have Kremlin on during New Trek, because I don't monetize those streams. I just let everybody say how they feel. This way we won't get kicked off of YouTube or phasered up against the wall by the wokies too quickly. But I've been starting to fuck with them over on Blue Sky. I found out what happens. The reason why there's no one on Blue Ski is because every single woke person is there. I can't act like a total dick over there because then Sussman will see it and he'll realize that we're not good partners, or he'll decide we're not good partners. The reason why we got interacted with by the future possible creator of Star Trek TV is because I took Jerm, Sean, and JT's advice, which, Jerm, would you like to sum up what you told me about my ex habits and what I should do?
Stop being a lunatic.
I thought you were going to say shut the fuck up. But yeah, first was shut the fuck up. And the second one was stop being a lunatic, correct?
Yeah.
I wasn't hitting a 10, but I was like maintaining a 7 and an 8 at all times on lunacy. About right?
About right, yeah.
Yeah. And posting way too much.
That would be an understatement.
So now I post less than average people. I reply less than average people, and I'm going to advise everyone, the algorithm is extremely toxic right now. Watch your Xing. I mostly just go into, I stay away from For You. I go to people I follow, and I mostly go to my chats with my friends. So I only talk to cool people. We've carved out our unsafe space where we go to say the unsafe things we say. But this has been this week's Paramount show. Welcome to Paramount This Week, the premiere episode. We'll have Radioactive with us next week. We thank all of you. It's brought to everyone by fans like you. And I want to thank everyone who came by the show, including, oops, let me get over to my channel so I can take a look. I want to thank everyone who came by and was part of the show. I want to thank Taylor Sheridan for, giving us something to talk about that's at least worthwhile. One thing about this show that you could say it really didn't suck. And, Mr. Angel, Rocco the Brave, Trek Reviewer, Kremlin, Miskatonic Madman, Real Head Case, RRTNZ, Mr. Angel. Did I say it, Mr. Angel? I think I got everybody who's chimed in. There's been a few more watching. RRTNZ with the generous 10 New Zealand's dollar super chat, and also a super chat from the Real Head Case. Thank you very much. And did Radioactive send me one too? And I just can't scroll back that far. I'll thank Radioactive anyway. Thank you all, and we love you. You guys are the best, and we will catch you on the next Star Trek show. This week's going to be crazy. I'm working all week because they finally melted off the snow. I'll be around when I'm around this week, but usually it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. Teague Tuesday afternoons is become a fun thing. If it happens, it happens. If not, it'll be Teague at night. Thursdays, we're sticking with 9:30. It's fun. But I'm thinking about, maybe on Fridays when I come on, who needs Plomeek tea when you can have actual Teague? What do you think, Jer?
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we'll be back, and I think everyone deserves to see Sydney Sweeney. And, of course, Krimlon, under exclusive contract to this show, will not be appearing anywhere and has to give me 10% of everything he makes, or I won't let his family out of the basement.
Love, peace, and chicken grease.
All right, guys, it's Sydney Sweeney. We'll see you it'll probably be Monday because I don't know what's going on Tuesday. When I find out what's happening on Tuesday, I'll figure it out. We love you all. We'll see you on the other side.